The film opens with a band called Sled Dog, made up of 3 members: Eric, the guitarist and main songwriter, Mitch, the vocalist and bassist, and Olivia, the drummer. They are shown enjoying a peaceful vacation in the Canadian Rocky Mountains, paddling a canoe across a calm lake. The group is planning to spend the next 5 days on this getaway, and they've brought along enough supplies for the journey. However, beneath the surface of their relaxing trip, something weighs heavily on Eric's mind. As the band's primary songwriter, Eric is going through the lowest point in his career. He's under intense stress because his latest songs have failed to resonate with listeners, unlike their breakout hit, Backfire. That song, released years ago, was a massive success and launched Sled Dog into the spotlight. But over time, the band's popularity has faded. Eric's new compositions haven't been able to recapture the magic of Backfire, and the band has started to lose its relevance in the public eye. For Eric, this vacation is more than just a break. It's a chance to clear his mind and search for inspiration to save the band. He feels a tremendous burden on his shoulders, knowing the future of Sled Dog now rests on his ability to create a song that can bring them back to fame. He fears that if he fails again, it could mean the end of the band. In fact, during this trip, Eric and his bandmates have brought along some illicit drugs, hoping to ease the mounting mental pressure they're facing. Even though Eric is the main songwriter, Mitch and Olivia aren't just there to support him emotionally. They're also actively helping him search for new ideas and inspiration, trying their best to help the band create something great again.
What? I think I hear rockets up ahead.
While paddling through the lake, the trio unexpectedly runs into a group of locals who are camping and enjoying the beauty of the wilderness. The group consists of April, Nikki, and Ashley. As soon as April and Nikki realize that they've encountered the members of Sled Dog, the two, who happen to be longtime fans, excitedly ask for photos and autographs from Eric, Mitch, and Olivia. Sensing it's a good moment to take a break, the band decides to join April, Nikki, and Ashley by their camp. They sit around, sharing stories and enjoying each other's company.
There seems to be an issue with your reception. You'll have to try.
I don't care about any of that.
As the sun begins to set, they pitch their tents and plan to continue their journey through the Rockies the next day.
At the most, no, 5 days, even less.
I'm gonna kill you.
Just do me a favor, okay?
You're called Tone Shark.
The following morning, just after sunrise, Eric, Mitch, and Olivia begin preparing to continue their trip through the mountains. But before they can leave, April, who idolizes the band, suddenly expresses her desire to come along with them. She doesn't want to miss the rare opportunity to spend more time with her favorite band. At first, the trio hesitates, unsure if it's the right idea, but eventually they agree to let April join their journey. As they travel together, they open up to one another, sharing stories from their personal lives. April reveals that Sled Dog's music has been a constant companion for her, something she listens to daily and finds comfort in.
Pass me my cigarettes.
Yeah.
When Backfire, it blew.
As night began to fall, they quickly paddled to shore to set up their tents and build a campfire. That evening, the group gathered around the fire, singing together while trying to spark inspiration for a new song. To relieve their stress and ease the tension, the 4 of them decided to drink alcohol and take LSD. Once the drug kicked in, the world around them seemed to change. They experienced vivid hallucinations, with the colors of their surroundings appearing more vibrant and alive. During this, Mitch, who had wandered off to relieve himself, thought he saw a figure watching him from a distance. He assumed it was just a side effect of the LSD and tried to calm himself, convincing his mind that it was all just an illusion caused by the drugs. Meanwhile, Eric also began to hear footsteps coming from deep within the forest.
Hello? Mitch!
He too was likely experiencing the effects of the LSD, but curiosity, or unease, drove him to check the source of the sound. Suddenly, everything around him turned to black. Eric had passed out. He was later awakened by April, who looked worried and confused as she found him sleeping outside the tent. Dazed and unsure of what had happened, Eric assumed the drugs were to blame. As he opened his eyes, both he and Mitch noticed the water nearby was shimmering with changing colors, another sign the drug was still affecting their senses.
Water, man, it's fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful.
They resumed their journey through the forest, still hoping to find inspiration for a new song. As they hiked, April noticed a mask hanging from one of the trees.
Before we had to put peanut butter down. And then
It's good.
What
It's
song?
really good.
what's that?
Mitch explained that masks like that were sometimes used as trail markers. But not far from that spot, Mitch saw something suspicious in the distance. Alarmed, he urged the group to stop and follow him. Eventually, they arrived at a strange and unsettling place that sent chills down their spines.
Let's go set up camp. This place gives me the creeps.
With the sun setting once again, they had no choice but to spend the night there. That evening, around the fire, Eric and Olivia tried to focus on creative ideas. Mitch, however, was more interested in taking more drugs with April. While the others eventually drifted off to sleep, Mitch stayed awake, only to witness what appeared to be some kind of paranormal activity happening nearby. The next morning, Eric and Olivia were the first to wake up and began packing their gear. Olivia went over to Mitch's tent to wake him and April, but was shocked when she peeked inside. April was sitting upright, holding her head in her hands, while Mitch was nowhere to be found. April groaned, complaining of a severe headache, and asked for something to relieve the pain. Meanwhile, Eric had gone off to look for Mitch. Not far from the tent, he found Mitch, standing still, staring blankly into the forest. As Eric approached, Mitch quietly explained that he had seen a mysterious figure standing among the trees, watching him intently. Eric tried to calm him down, reassuring him that what he saw was likely just another lingering effect of the drug. Then, Eric encouraged Mitch to pull himself together so they could continue their journey.
Let's get going. We gotta go. Just hungover. Nothing's...
During the journey, Mitch began to sense that something was off, especially when he noticed April's behavior becoming increasingly strange and erratic. Then, without warning, something shocking happened. April's head suddenly exploded.
Get up, okay?
Hold the boat over.
Okay, just a deep breath. Try to relax. Sure she's okay? Look, she's fine. Really.
Stunned and unsure of what had just occurred, the group immediately pulled over to the riverbank, trying to process the horrifying event. The situation had clearly escalated into an emergency. A heavy sense of anxiety fell over them. None of them knew whether April could somehow still be saved, or what had even caused the incident. Mitch, growing increasingly concerned, asked Eric how far they were from the main road. Eric tried to estimate the remaining distance and explained that they would reach the highway in about 3 days if they continued by canoe. Though Eric considered going on foot as a potentially quicker option, he realized it would be far more exhausting. The dense forest and uneven terrain made hiking risky and slow, and they would also have to carry April's body, which would drain even more energy. Even though they had a map for guidance, there was no guarantee the journey would go smoothly. In the end, they agreed that sticking to the river route by canoe was the safest and fastest choice, hoping the current would help them reach the road faster. But before setting off again, they decided to spend the night at the site. As Eric prepared to sleep, he was suddenly startled when he saw a mysterious figure touching the outside of his tent. Meanwhile, Mitch, who hadn't fallen asleep yet, witnessed something even stranger, a creature that looked alien-like approaching their tent. Confused and disturbed, Mitch questioned whether the figure was real or just another illusion brought on by fatigue and the lingering effects of the drugs. Driven by curiosity, Mitch bravely followed the strange figure into the darkness.
Hello?
As he moved deeper into the trees, his conviction grew. He was now certain this was no hallucination, but something very real. The next morning, Mitch recounted his experience to Olivia and Eric, telling them he had seen a figure resembling an alien near their tent the previous night. He insisted he wasn't imagining it, but Olivia, who had not taken any LSD, said she had felt no strange presence at all during the trip. In her view, Mitch was still under the influence of the drug, and what he saw was likely a vivid hallucination. Not wanting to waste more time, the group resumed their journey, paddling down the river once again. Time seemed to fly, and before long, night fell. Along the river, they noticed a small campground set up near the riverbank.
Hello?
Hoping to find people who could help guide them to safety, they pulled over to investigate. But what they found left them horrified. Several dead bodies, likely victims of a wild animal attack.
Oh my God. What happened to them?
The entire camp was deserted, with no survivors in sight. Frightened by the scene, they decided to keep moving. After some time on the water, hunger began to gnaw at them. Their stomachs growled, and they were eventually forced to pull over and rest. They ate what little food they had left, consuming it slowly. Their dwindling supplies made Olivia doubt whether they could make it out alive. As they sat in uneasy silence, Mitch once again told Eric that he had seen figures watching them from behind the bushes.
Cold hot dogs and soggy buns.
There's one watching us. Can you see it? Shh.
After finishing their meager dinner, just as they were about to continue their journey, the group was suddenly thrown into chaos. A mysterious figure appeared and dragged Olivia into the forest. Mitch and Eric tried to follow, but the woods were far too dark, and they quickly lost track of her. Not knowing what else to do, and gripped by fear and confusion, Mitch and Eric made the difficult decision to leave Olivia behind and continue on without her. In their desperation, they decided to travel with only one canoe, abandoning April's body by the riverbank to reduce their burden. After a long, exhausting journey downstream, they came upon an old cabin by the riverside. Clinging to the hope of finding help, they paddled to shore and rushed inside.
There's nothing in the truck. Did you find anything?
Only to find that the cabin was empty. There was no one there. Their first instinct was to search for a telephone to call for help, but to their dismay, there was no working phone inside the cabin. At the same time, Mitch was suddenly struck by an intense pain in his head. Agonized, he begged Eric to drill into his skull, suspecting that something was inside. Sure enough, as Eric carried out the crude and horrifying request, they discovered a parasitic creature embedded in Mitch's head.
Jesus fucking.
Once the parasite was removed, Mitch began to feel better, clear-headed and relieved. Looking outside, they spotted a car parked near the cabin. Seeing a potential escape, they agreed to look for the car keys. Mitch began searching inside the cabin, while Eric took the initiative to check the car, hoping the keys had been left inside. But before Eric could do anything, strange creatures appeared and attacked him, knocking him unconscious.
This is supposed to make me famous. Oh, you're fucking ugly.
Meanwhile, back in the cabin, Mitch became the next target. Realizing he was in danger, he desperately looked for a way to escape without being noticed. He quietly slipped out of the cabin and, once outside, ran as fast as he could, fueled by terror and adrenaline. After what felt like forever, Mitch finally found a road. To his immense relief, a passing car came into view. The driver, let's call him John, pulled over after seeing Mitch in distress. John was shocked by Mitch's appearance, especially the gruesome injury to his head, and immediately asked what had happened. Without caring about his own safety, Mitch begged John to take him to the nearest police station. He needed to report that his friends had been attacked by mysterious creatures deep in the forest. Hearing Mitch's urgent plea, John immediately drove him toward the nearest police station. But just a few hundred meters ahead, John was startled to see the scene of a terrible accident. Their attention was immediately drawn to a wrecked car with several bodies lying motionless around the crash site. Mitch was hit with a wave of shock as he recognized the victims on the ground. They were Eric and Olivia. Stunned and confused, Mitch began to retrace his thoughts, trying to recall what had really happened. Slowly, the truth unraveled in his mind. He, Eric, and Olivia had been in a serious car accident on their way to a planned canoe trip. The accident had been caused by heavy drug use. which had severely impaired their judgment and mental state. When the crash occurred, Eric and Olivia had died on the spot, while Mitch had survived with a severe blow to the head, leaving him unconscious. In reality, they had never reached their vacation destination. Everything that had happened throughout the film, the canoe journey, the forest, the hallucinations, April, Nikki, Ashley, the mysterious creatures, had been part of a fabricated illusion created by Mitch's subconscious mind. It was his mind's way of escaping the traumatic truth, imagining that he and his friends were still alive, still on their artistic journey, searching for inspiration. But in truth, Mitch had been unconscious all along. As he finally regained consciousness after the crash, disoriented and still under the lingering effects of the drugs, Mitch had wandered aimlessly until he stumbled upon John on the road. Now, having remembered everything, Mitch could no longer hold back his grief. Tearfully, he told John that the people lying at the crash site were his best friends, victims of a tragic accident caused by drug use. Hearing this, John called the police, reporting the crash and requesting assistance. Saddened by the story and the loss Mitch had suffered, John stayed with him while they waited for authorities to arrive and recover the bodies. Now, Mitch must face the harsh reality that the two people who had meant the most to him, his dearest friends who had always stood by his side, were gone forever, and the story ends.